very odd feeling. I know it's a bit cringe to lament the passing of a celebrity when there are other things happening in the world, including people dying in wars and floods and any other horrible thing going on at the moment, but yeah, it's still like quite hard to believe. I think for the non-sports fan, there'd be a fair bit of amusement about the outpouring of grief for Shane Warne. The non-sports fan, I imagine, would see Shane as a bit of a bogan who cheated on his wife and was a bit full of himself. What's to celebrate about that? For the rest of us who are sports fans and who have grown up with this larger-than-life character in our lives, it's more shocking than hearing of things happening in other places, because, well, it has a bigger effect, because particularly for the passionate cricket fan, a part of your life's gone. If cricket's a big part of your life, Warnie was a big part of cricket, therefore part of you's gone. And I think people who are not sports fans needs to try and understand that as a way of comprehending where the outpouring of grief for a cricket player sits with everything else happening in this shit show at the moment. Yes, he was a bogan. Yes, he cheated on his wife. Yes, he was full of himself. The non-sports fan would probably wonder why that gets forgiven because he's good at spinning a ball around. I don't think it's forgiven. You can be a sports fan, love Warnie, be amazed at his contribution to the sport. It doesn't mean you condone, the toll his antics took on his family and all the rest of it. I think it speaks to a larger thing where we actually, as Australians, don't really want all our heroes to be clean cut. It's probably a good thing to think about. It's hard to think about right at the moment, but if you think about people who are idolised, how many of them are actually clean cut, run of the mill, no dodgy stuff in the background, just goes straight home to his family when his work's done or her work's done. It's probably a good discussion if I had anyone here to discuss it with. And for the life of me, I can't really think of many people. I mean, Steve Waugh is actually not one of Shane's favourite people, but he's probably the best example of the hero that is clean cut. I suppose, depending on whether you consider lethal sledging to be a vice or not. But there is something to be said, and I suppose, I don't know how uniquely Australian it is, about having that hero who is deeply flawed. And if he was a really good leg spinner and had none of those other elements to his personality, he wouldn't be as renowned as he was. He wouldn't be seen the way he was seen, obviously. It makes me wonder why there aren't more sports people like that. Brutally open, brutally honest, flawed, clearly flawed, and win at all costs. If you look at his recent documentary, he's honest about the fact that his family came second because he was a sports person, because he was a competitor, And his attitude was win at all costs. So in order to win at all costs, his focus had to be on cricket all the time. I mean, that's a huge thing to admit to the world, that your family was not uppermost in your thoughts for a huge chunk of your life. It's hard to read all the social media stuff and articles going. People want to be polite because someone's died, but so much of what made Warnie Warnie is not for polite discussion. I did notice one article where Ian Healy was saying he was surprised Warnie had died of a heart attack rather than skin cancer, because he wasn't great at putting on sunscreen. Completely baffling, of course, to see that written in an article the day we learnt that Shane died, but people grieve in different ways, I suppose. Rod Marsh will be pissed, that's all I know. So I'm sitting here watching the first session of the Aussies in Pakistan on day 2. While I'm recording this, I don't know where a wicket's coming from, quite honestly. Imam ul Haq 137 currently, Azhar Ali 79. Cummins bowled a fast off spinner before, that's where we're at currently in the ideas department. So yeah, it's so odd that a month ago we were annoyed that Australia was too good and flogging England too much, and now we can't buy a wicket currently. Test cricket, eh? And then there's India, Sri Lanka going on at the moment. I'm very confused. Well, not very confused, but it's odd to look at the ICC World Test Championship ladder at the moment. Sri Lanka up on top, with the Aussies second, Pakistan third, and South Africa fourth. India's 5, and New Zealand 6. Yeah, very odd. And somehow India and England have played 5 matches already, and Sri Lanka's played 2. I don't understand how that works. Anyhow, that's me not understanding how something works is not necessarily interesting podcasting. Crap chat. Yeah, I don't know that there's... It's that weird week where there's no NRL trials, but there's no NRL competition. So it's just that week where there's no games on and clubs are just hoping no one does anything stupid because they're so close to running on. Someone's bound to do something dumb in the last little hurdle before the season starts. If anyone knows how Tavita Pengai Jr. got away without a ban for trying to punch someone in the head in the trial game, let me know on the socials, please. What's the go? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, any case you can think of for why trying to punch someone in the head who did literally nothing to him doesn't result in any kind of ban. I'd love to hear it. I'm going to have a couple of guests on next recording next week, hopefully. I did say I was going to talk about AFL. I'm not. I lied about that, sorry. But hopefully I can bring some people on who can tell me a bit more about it next week. I'd like some thoughts on what they think about the upcoming season. Funnily enough, one of the people who I want to come on said that they had nothing interesting to say about sport. And I said, that's why I'm getting you on to talk about AFL. Zing. Zing. Indeed, everybody. Shall I go out with a famous sporting fiasco? You might remember last year I'd found a book in my son's room that I'd never seen before. I don't know how it got there. It's called Famous Sporting Fiascos, and it's got one of those funny cartoon covers in a slightly Max Walker style, where there's a batsman and a wicketkeeper, and for some reason the batsman's buttocks have burst into flames. Not really explained in the picture, but both batsman and wicketkeeper look surprised, so let's assume that it's not the wicketkeeper who's set the batsman's arse alight. Anyway, Famous Sporting Fiascos is written by Stephen Winkworth, and the blurb here says a side-splitting score sheet of own goals, no balls, gaffes and blunders. So I'm going to open at a random page and see what tales of wonder I might see right here. Lost Eagle. Alright, here we go. This could be anything. Settle in. When you are hunting in vain for your lost golf ball, or, like Allotson at Hove Cricket Ground, trying to prize the last ball out of the woodwork of the pavilion, spare a thought for a sporting pioneer who went searching in the backwoods of Eagle Harbor, California, and was never seen again. What? The name of Julius T. Nashazel is revered by frisbee throwers the world over. The Julius T. Nashazel Cup commemorates this great thrower and searcher who never gave up, and may, for all we know, still be camped out somewhere in the wilds, grizzled and bearded, doggedly following the trail of the lost frisbee. The cup itself, a splendid contraption consisting of one outsized galvanized tomato tin, welded to a beer can and resting upon the lid of a container which once held coffee, is awarded to the team champion every year. What kind of complete arse is this? We're meant to believe that there was a frisbee championship going on. Someone threw it off into the rough, went looking for it, and disappeared, never to be seen again. Is this what this is trying to tell us? I'm going to have to Google this. Let's see what Julius T. Nashazel brings up on the old Googles. Okay, so this is saying that this is saying nothing. I can't find anything. Shouldn't there be a Wikipedia page? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here. I'll try to find out about Julius T. Nashazel. By next episode, I find this hard to believe that he looked so hard for a frisbee he never came back. It's a frisbee. Just come back, go buy another one. Crowdfund it if you're really that poor that you need to risk your life to find a frisbee. I don't know what the crowdfunding options were at that time, but do something, ask around. It's a frisbee. That's not commitment, that's just a mad person. Anyway, maybe I won't write him off until I do a little more research, but next week I'll have the answers. Goodbye.
This is an Angry Chimp podcast.
Hello, my name is Piers Grove, and I'm a founder, publisher, and managing director. In March 2022, I'd just been named Managing Director of Australian Geographic and set up Scout Publishing. Then, everything changed. 404 Brain Not Found, the podcast for stroke survivors and their friends and colleagues. We explore the absurd experience and frustrating journey of stroke recovery. 404 Brain Not Found, a general experiments podcast on all podcast streamers.
My name's Stu.
I'm Rachel.
And we are fans
Obsessives might be the word.
of the 90s. The 90s. The 90s. The 90s.
You can follow the podcast on your favourite podcast app. Rachel, what's the name of the show?
Swinging on the flippity flop.
Why the 90s?
Lived it.
We lived it, we were it.
Was it the best decade ever or the lamest? Let's find out.
Flippity flop.